broke his heart. So
yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We are live. Welcome to this new episode of Future of Faith. Today, we're going to discuss what it really means to be Black in the modern world. I am Sofia. I'm the host. I am a student at Edinburgh University. I study Middle Eastern Studies, and I work for Edinburgh Interfaith Association. I do work with the community and this podcast. So I would like you to introduce yourself. I would like to start with Etienne.
Hey guys, my name is Etienne Kubwabo. I'm a film director and writer, and I'm also a comic book creator. And I'm very excited to be here to chat with you all about process in making this film.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Wam Siluka Jr. I'm an actor and creative artist and lead actor in the film The Difference Between Us. Of course, excited to talk about the film and dive into some of the details in the process of making it. So excited to be here. Thank you.
And good morning, everybody. My name is Yahya, or Yahya Barry, and I am the Scotland and Northern Ireland Community Development Lead for the film and TV charity. And I'm also a board member of Creative Scotland. So I'm a leader in the creative culture and screen industry, and I'm really excited to talk about all things Black and Scotland, and so excited to meet Etienne virtually and hopefully really soon. And of course, the amazing actor that's Junior. So looking forward to a good chat.
Thank you so much. And welcome to Samantha. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on today. My name is Samantha Likonde, and I'm working with the University of Edinburgh as the Community Engagement Officer as part of a research project we have, which is looking into the university's legacies of enslavement and colonialism.
Thank you so much. So today we are here to discuss the new movie coming out later this summer that Etienne has produced. Would you like to give a short introduction, and then we can go and watch the trailer, which I'm really excited about?
I'll share the screen. So yeah, this was a film that came to me during lockdown when I thought, when I was hearing about all this stuff about COVID, I was like, yeah, is this just going to be the end of me before I do my real story that I really wanted to share with the world? So that sort of fear sort of triggered something within me. And then I started writing the movie, The Difference Between Us. And this just really happened sort of fast, unplanned, and I met some amazing people who I've worked with, like you're gonna see in the trailer. So I don't want to say so much, so I give away too much. We have a long stuff to discuss, but I'm gonna play the first trailer that we released there on 14th of April. We got trailer 2 coming, so this will give you a glimpse of what the movie is about. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm sharing properly. Yeah, everything is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
My whole life felt different. I thought that if I came here, I wouldn't stand out as much. Apparently, I still do.
You don't have to hate. Just be you. Michael, meet our new roommate.
No handshakes here, man.
Oh, hey.
You read newspapers?
Yes.
And what century are you from?
What has happened to you?
I'm so sorry.
Watson! Alex Watson, shut the fuck up!
Yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it and the sound came through nicely. I'm all about the cinema experience, so I'm always curious if the people have enjoyed and heard the dialogue and the sound really well, like it's supposed to be experienced. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, guys.
That was really amazing, Etienne. Thank you. I can't wait to see it.
Cheers, thank you.
Honestly, it was really cool to see. And I think it's got me really excited because I can see kind of my own experiences that in there as well. Like as a Black person, you can kind of feel the essence of what you're going to discuss in the wider movie. So it's really exciting to see that. You must be really proud. So congratulations to you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Apologies, I had some connection issues, but it was really good. So I would like to start by asking you, how did you end up here? How did you end up producing this movie? What was your past? What was your experience? I'm guessing you had some kind of past in arts and creating. So tell us about you.
I think I'll go back from when I was about 8, when I used to get in trouble for watching a lot of Spider-Man and Captain America animation back in Congo. And my mom would be like, Etienne, you have to do your homework. And then, because from the 80s, we had these big TVs. So if she came from work and touched the back of the TV, she could tell somebody was watching TV. So I used to, stop doing my homework, end up watching a lot of animation. She's like, you know what? We need to find a solution to this. And then I told my brothers and sisters, I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to get in trouble, right? So I used to take them at the back of our house. We had another set of TV that was broken, but the inside parts were not in. So I used to put my head through the back of the TV and start acting out stuff that I'd seen on TV. And I remember those were like the best times. And storytelling, theater has always been with me from that time. And when I moved to Scotland, I started shooting music videos, doing a lot of documentaries and shooting events for free to kind of get the experience in filmmaking. Joined Clyburn College, also did my degree at Caledonia University, but I was always on the go, on set, shooting something. Everything I've seen on TV or in the movie theater, I wanted to go home and try it. And I've shot about 500 music videos and documentaries, about 10 commercials. So all these last 12 years of me getting involved in music videos and all that, I think it was just sort of me getting the experience and the confidence to sort of do what I was meant to do, which is storytelling, which is film. And, when we got locked up in 2020, I was like, you know what? It's now or never. All these dreams and fears I always had of how people would react in me directing them on a big film. I had to say that this is it. If I get another chance to get out of this, I'm going to create something that I'm super proud of. So yeah, this is how we got to the difference between us. Self-funded.
And you got the chance.
Yeah, I got the chance, and then I did it, and then it's here. It can be overwhelming sometimes, but yeah, I'm very excited about everybody I've been collaborating with, from the actors, the cast, the crew. They just made my life very easy, and I love film because it's such a collaborative process. It's not something you do as one person. You'll get together and you're trying to get that picture, the great moment that will make people feel different emotions and hopefully become better human beings from that.
So you said you came up with the idea during COVID.
Yeah.
And it took you a long time to develop? I have no idea.
Yeah, it took me a long to develop, but it was a series of what I've been experiencing living in Scotland, like being called the N-word, people throwing a lot of stones on our house where we lived in Postle Park, and being stopped by the police a couple of times. I remember one time I took my Audi for service in Arnold Clark, and then I got given this blind new Mercedes as a courtesy car for a week, and I got stopped by the police 5 times, and 3 times of those were the same police, and you could tell they were just racially profiling me. And I was like, is this the promised land that my mom told me Scotland would be? So I started wondering if I did belong here. And I think those series of things that I faced living in Scotland, and also growing up with a stepmom, and my relationship with her has always been a bit distant. And I wanted to explore this whole idea around family and what it feels like to be a step kid and a step parent, because my relationship with my mom has always been, not as good. She's really nice and everything, but always questioned why her love for me was always this huge, so I wanted to explore things that understand as a person. And I think with film you get to sort of dive into a story and hope that people can connect with it.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask you what's the movie about, but I want to ask Junior because I feel like we have to start here. So go on.
Yeah, the film. So the film, I think the best way to summarize it is about Alex, who has adopted parents, lives in the Highlands, very much protected until he moves to Glasgow, into the big city where reality kicks in. He comes to terms with what really it's like to be Black and what that means for him as a new reality. So it's, the key messaging is around trying to embrace differences, and specifically, in relation to race. And for the portion of the film, I also feel like I can relate because I'm almost talking about my life in a sense, to the things I've experienced as well. So it's authentically refreshing to work on a film that you feel passionate about, and then you're talking about your life, so it's almost real. For me, it was a real experience. So I'm just bringing that to camera for most of the parts. So that's what made it really easy. So the film is just about telling that story, embracing different perspectives and different backgrounds, cultures, and and telling it to an audience that perhaps can relate to it, and some who can be perhaps educated on that perspective. So it's got everything in it. It's got emotion, love, hate, violence. So it's one to really watch out for.
You both talked about how you relate, obviously, to the movie, to the film that you wrote and the film that you acted out. And I would like to ask our two other guests. In the world right now, there's a big discussion about representation, role models, and what it's like to have your story being told. You can see that others experience the same things, but also a feeling of community. So I would like to ask Samantha and Yahya, like, what they feel about what it is like to have representation and to see that on a trailer.
I think representation is huge. I mean, and for me, as a Black leader, working in the creative heritage and screen industry, I mean, it's all about that. I mean, because we see, first of all, a lack of representation of Black voices in the sector. So when I see a Black film director and Black actors setting the scene and leading and, setting the narrative, because sadly, we've been used to our stories, but when we reverse those, hang on, no. We are more than capable and competent to tell our own stories, right? We may, let's say, be faced with a lack of resources, but we'll make do with what we have and we tell our stories. So for me, this is it's powerful and it's really revolutionary. And hearing Etienne and Junior speak, I feel very, very emotional, actually. The fact that, you have the mix of emotions of love, of violence, of conflict is very human and real. If you look at our history as a people, or as peoples in the plural, you find all these emotions have been interwoven into our history, from the glorious parts of it to the not so glorious, to the testing parts of it. And to have emotions meet with purpose and realization that, look, this is COVID. I don't know if I'm going to live through it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to get my dream out there and I'm going to pursue it fearlessly. That's really powerful stuff there. And it's, and obviously I'm also thinking from a faith perspective that you need to have faith in your abilities. And it's just great. I applaud this. So I look forward to seeing many more productions from yourself, Etienne and Junior.
To comment on your question. I think that was beautifully put, Yahya. I think representation is so important. And one thing that caught with me was how your trailer really reflects your autonomy in retelling your personal stories from your experiences. Similarly to your comic as well, Beats of War is kind of talking about how your experience and how you're reflecting that to an audience. And I think that's so important.
It's really struggling to hear Samantha.
Because
Samantha, I don't know if I'm the only one, but if you're able to check your connection.
experiences as well. So is that a bit better?
Yes.
I can imagine how mine. Yeah, can you hear me from here? Okay. I'm using my laptop and my phone, so I'm hoping this is a bit better.
Yes, it is. Go on.
I was just saying that it was really nice to see the trailer kind of reflect your personal experiences, and I can imagine how therapeutic that must have been for you as well, to be able to kind of retell your story through this. And as a viewer myself, it was kind of therapeutic as well to kind of see you reflect your experiences and kind of see how other people might see themselves in that. And that's why representation is really important, because it kind of helps you cope as well with your personal experiences, what you've seen. And I think a really cool thing would be to ask for how other Black people or ethnic minorities can use creativity to cope with their personal experiences of being highly racialized in the communities that we are, especially here in Scotland. So if you had anything to say about that, that would be really cool to hear.
Go, yeah.
I mean, I had a few notes that I took, as I listened to Etienne and Junior. I mean, so I have a son, right? And this is a bit embarrassing. Sometimes I tell him off for watching too much Marvel, right? And I'm like, so when you tell about your mom feeling the heat of the TV and like turning you off for watching too much TV, it's like I could relate to that as a parent. And I think sometimes our communities are almost, and this relates to what we see to be, is the film and TV industry a viable and realistic career path? Because as Black peoples and people who, let's say, are might find themselves to be migrants, we are being used to being told, look, you have to survive, and to survive you need to be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer. So being a film star or being like a movie producer is just not. So it's really refreshing to see that. So I was challenged myself as a parent, and also increasingly working in the sector. It's making me realize that, yeah, I mean, some of these tools are really important for us to have, because, to have a means to tell your story, I mean, how much more viable a career can that be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know about you, but I totally agree, and to the point of going back to that point of representation. When you see other people who have the same color skin as you, who are doing these things, pursuing their dreams. Because when I started acting, this is about 6 years ago now, there wasn't a lot of many Black actors, but hopefully I could begin. I thought to myself, maybe I could begin to change that and change that narrative and say, look, despite what your skin color is, despite what your culture or background is, you can do these things, pursue your dreams. Because anyone who's got Black parents, you know for yourself, you're either going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, and that's pretty much it. You go to school, go to university, anything else. If you even deviate away from that, you get the smack. I'm joking, but the focus tends to be more academic. But so for me, I just try to, anytime I talk about my work when I'm acting, is if you truly pursue this as your passion, you truly put in the work for you during it, and you pursue it, the results will come from that. But also you're setting a precedence for everyone else coming after you, who are looking up to you. For example, you've got a son, I've got a son as well, and that's something that I always intend to do, is try to be an example.
Yeah, it's quite interesting hearing you guys talk. You know, you either want to be a doctor, lawyer, or you're a disgrace to the family, right? I had a really long few years heated, relationship between me and my stepmom. We were not on the good terms because of what I was doing with film, And even going back to the acting and representation, when I even decided to do this film, I couldn't find a Black lead actor to be in it. It took me like a good 3-4 weeks to find Junior. Can you imagine, And anyway, it was here. I'm glad this is growing. And I think there's always that fear. I think parents always think, okay, how can I keep my children, to have a better life? They want you to have that security, which is good. But me, I took a lot of risks doing this. That's why I decided if I'm going to do a film, I'm going to invest in it myself, because these days studios don't just give you money. They want to see what you can do, with the little you have, and then they will be able to trust you this amount of money. So every time someone tells me no, it's a yes for me in my head, because I know there's another person, there's a better route that I'm gonna go. So that's my mindset. So I was like, okay, how can I make this movie without having to go and look for people to give me money? So I released Scotland's first Black superhero, Beats of War, which is now surpassed 30,000 copies sold worldwide, and the money was all reinvested in the film. And some of my family were like, Etienne, you could just, went on holiday and everything. And some of my friends, it's a lot of money to put in a movie. I'm like, dude, when you got a vision, when you got a dream, this is what I'm breathing and living. I want to provide opportunities for people in our community, people of color, but also other people I'm working with in the community I live in, so that we can build the scene together. So it's like waking up every morning like, oh God, I'm doing this and I have all these conversations with myself. It's the drive, you hear that voice. It's just that voice that speaks to you within you that is not too loud. I tend to follow that voice, and I'm happy to meet some cool people creating this film and even having the film come out. I'm just keen to see people's reactions, and I'm super grateful along the way, and I'm not stopping.
You poured all of yourself into this film. So how much of you is in the protagonist as emotions and experiences? And I know you said experiences, and that's something that everyone can relate to, but I can imagine it's a personal representation of yourself.
Was that my question or for Junior?
It was for you.
Or was it both?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This film is so much myself. Junior's character, adopted. I have step parents. My parents died when I was really young, so I had this. I've always wanted to explore what could have been like if I had my mom and dad, which I never had. So that's myself. Literally, Junior is playing me, and the racism part, and I put other things like little jobs in the film that I did that helped me to get to the part. I was like a delivery driver, being stopped by different things that have happened to my life leading to this point. Like 80-90% of them are in the movie. There's a guy I met called Sanjeev. He's a comedian. He's done stuff with BBC. He's quite a popular actor. Sanjeev something. I don't know if I pronounce his name properly. He's a really cool guy. And he, I think we were on Water Aid, some sort of fundraiser, and I was like, I want to do a movie, but I'm stuck for ideas. He's like, Etienne, find your story, because your story, no one else can tell your story. So I wanted to be as honest as possible. And then from there, with this story, I can always explore with science fiction movies or thrillers. But the first movie, I really wanted to be as personal as possible and just be as honest to the audiences, and hopefully people can relate. And it was really exciting having Junior, because parts of the script, things he read, he was like, 18, actually, I relate to this. And then whenever we said action, this man was ready to go, ready. They made my life very easy. So yeah, it's like 80% of it is my life is in there.
Well done. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's about right, about 80%, because a lot of the storyline is based around the naivety. Alex, the character, moves to the city, thinks it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's almost a reflection of moving to the UK, not knowing what to expect, and then having to adapt, new friends, new lifestyle, new culture. How do you then deal with that? And then that naivety is is almost crushed with the reality of actually, being Black means, you're going to face certain stereotypes, certain treatments, and you're going to experience things that you'd never thought you'd expect. And and I've lived through some of those things. Etienne talked about the analogy of being pulled over, but almost every Black person that I know has been pulled over. It's as one of your friends passes, you're in the car, you'll get pulled over. It's part of the process, and those experiences you bring to the character, and then you're able to embrace in this level of zoning in and just bringing that to life. And a lot of the the stuff that we filmed, to me it was real. It was real, and that's the best way to represent that character, and just being authentic, because it came from a real place. So to me, I wasn't acting some of the time. It was a real experience, and I think that helped propel the emotion, to get that across. And it was a hell of an experience, regards to that.
That's really interesting. We talk about representation, and we talked about the impact that this film will have on ethnic minorities and people that relate. But what would you like people that are not from ethnic minorities take from this movie? And education. And
I can just summarize within a few short words. The title says the difference between us, but the film will end with there's no difference between us, because I want people to realize.
Spoilers.
I mean, I want people to realize that we are all humans. We are all connected in a way, and together, remove race, all that. Together we can be better humans, live together in harmony, without having to. I mean, if I meet Junior and he's got a Scottish accent, why do I expect him to act a certain way? It doesn't matter, if you think you're cool, you're respectful, that's what it's all about. So I want people to realize that there's no difference between us. I mean, no film says the difference between us, but I just want to bring people together through that story and connect all the humans to realize that we are powerful together. It's something about really our subconscious that I'm always trying to explore. It's like when you're a filmmaker or a storyteller, you're always trying to dig deeper about life, humanity, where we come from, what makes us really special and strong species. So I'm always fascinated by that. And hopefully with this movie, people will come out transformed to be better humans, I suppose.
Thank you. Samantha, I wanted to know more about the work that you do with the university, but also I can imagine with educating and promoting, there's no difference between us.
Yeah, so the work that I'm doing with the university currently is that I'm arranging focus groups to kind of gain perspectives from community groups, so communities of reparative justice interests, which is essentially anyone who's been affected by the legacies of slavery and colonialism, so basically any minoritized person. And we're trying to see people's perspectives on reparations. So how do you feel like you can regain something that has been taken from you or something that has been lost? And I think this film itself is like a great example of that, because you're kind of taking back your autonomy and power in retelling your story, and having the space to do that in the film industry itself. Like that, I feel like that's a form of reparations, just to have that power to reflect something back into the world, and to have autonomy in doing that. So I think that's really important. So I think this is how our works kind of link together, kind of talking about people's experiences and how we move past that. And another really important thing that we kind of talk about is aiding people in finding the right way to reflect their stories back. So there's academic ways of doing things, there's more creative ways of doing things, and I think the creative processes are always really, really important, because that's where people's honesty comes through the most. Your creativity shines, And you can kind of also see it in the film here as well. Like, you're really going into something deep about society and relations, people's relationships, how they interact with each other. So yeah, it's really cool to see that.
Thank you. I want to know more about Yahya, but I want to know more about all of you. I'd say what I'm excited about this movie, and I'm obviously not from an ethnic minority, is an education for me, and love to see that there's opportunities out there, but you have to take them. But there's opportunities, and I love to see that. But I want to ask, like what's your work and what are the opportunities out there?
Yeah, so I'm currently working in the film and TV industry as community development lead for the film and TV charity, and so we are supporting everyone that works behind the scenes of this very this magical and amazing sector and industry, which is magical on the one end, but also can be really demanding and taxing on so many ends. We've talked about career longevity and freelancers who work in the sector having to make ends meet as they go from one production to another. The mental health costs that come with having to deal with traumatic narratives such as what we're dealing with: racism, discrimination, violence. So that's the broad remit. But before doing that, I just want to quickly touch on some of the things that I heard, because the real powerful stuff, like Samantha talked about the power that's inherent in reformation, restoration, and justice, and how the creative process is really something that helps to drive the way that we authentically deal with some of these things. But also, for me, I've termed it Black man and Black woman tax, because look, it's a tax that we have to pay. The fact that we might be stopped and searched, that we might be discriminated against, that the names on our CVs might bar certain opportunities to progress in our careers. And it's beautiful that the film, in my understanding, is that it's showing actually there's one narrative that you can use and be a victim to this tax, so to speak, but you can turn it on its head and make it a real powerful driving force for creativity, for opening up economic incentives for the communities, but also powerful to tell our stories authentically. And I really love that about this. And hence the film saying, although it might be the difference between us, but if you look at it, with the same people, we have similar aspirations, same fears, and most importantly, the cost that comes with discrimination and with, let's say, prejudice is a cost to the whole of humanity. Research has shown that the film and TV industry loses billions of pounds and dollars annually through racism. Why? Because you have amazing stories that don't get told. You have people who exit the industry because of racism and prejudice, and that's costing. So imagine if we stop that. That's a benefit to all of us. And hence, it's really powerful for us to drive these narratives. And, I love the fact that, Etienne, you're saying, look, I'm living this day in, day out. That's what I do as well. We look at the obstacles and we have to, climb above them, and we have to say, look, what is at stake is so much more if we give up than, what we endure. And if we have to pay a tax, I'll claim my rebate one day or other. We'll make this happen. So really, anyone out there that wants to work with Etienne, wants to work with myself, to work in the film and TV industry, our doors are open. And we need to make this happen. We need to work together. We need to collaborate. We need to iron out the differences between our communities and say, look, when push comes to shove, we are all the same humanity here. A climate crisis that occurs in one part of the world is going to echo across the other side. We're on the same boat. And I'll just stop there.
Thank you so much. I actually would like to share the video of the film and TV charity.
Thank you.
They're responsible for, because I think it would be really useful. Hopefully.
Yes.
To work in this industry, it's the most rewarding job in the world.
Completely fulfilling.
It's inspirational, innovative.
It is magic.
It's this massive adrenaline rush.
It's a roller coaster ride.
It's completely addictive.
Oh, I just love it. This industry has a massive impact on mental health.
There's this real stigma.
You're disposable, worried about the next job.
Your job is to put up with it.
Just knowing someone's out there to talk to is amazing.
There's this myth that if you're scared, you'll work harder.
You're often bullied by the person you should be reporting it to.
Discrimination, sexism, racism, it's rife. You'll be blacklisted.
Who are you going to tell?
We need to stop feeling hopeless. You don't have to fight this alone.
Working around the clock, sacrificing your life.
To survive, it's seen as a badge of honour.
So many talented creatives drop out because they just can't take the stress.
I hate myself for that.
We're the greatest actors because we put on a brave face every day.
We all need to blow the whistle on this.
We need a complete reset.
We need to prioritise our well-being.
People work better if they know they're supported.
Change will only happen if it comes from the top.
We need things to be better.
We have to band together for this.
We all have a role to play.
Right across the industry. Play your part.
Support the charity. Together we can create change.
Wow, that's really good. What's an advice that you would give to any young artist, creator? Any of you, I trust any of you with this opinion.
Just pick up a camera and start filming. Get a couple of friends, family, your mom, if she's up for it, so your dad. And yeah, keep filming. I mean, I'm talking from a filmmaking industry. And then if you're a writer, keep writing and ask for advice if you think that you're struggling somewhere, because all my projects that I've always worked on and have become successful, I've always collaborated with people. And if you ask for help, you know, you never know what's on the other side, you know, so you never know until you try. So yeah, get the camera, start filming, start writing, and collaborate and make some awesome stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have to just start. There's no perfect time. There's no perfect funding. There's no perfect scenario. At some point, you know, the car has to leave the manufacturing site. So it's just about start and be relentless with it. No matter the obstacles, it might not look like you're going to make it. Just, you know, you're going to fail. So just keep failing, learn from your mistakes, keep, you know, moving forward and just go for it. Surround yourself with a good team, because we can't do it all by ourselves. We all need help. So speaking back to what Yahya was saying, if you want to come collaborate with us, there's a collaboration needed. It's something that you have to do together. And it's part of embracing these relationships creatively. You know, we have to do it together. But it's just about having, if you've got a why for what you do, and you are relentlessly pursuing it, and you dedicate yourself to your craft, you will get there eventually. So that would be my advice.
My one advice would be, I think you need to be purpose driven, because we've seen, you know, the story here that, you know, it was only through purpose that you were able, you know, Etienne was able to drive forward, you know, with this vision that he had, you know, during COVID, and likewise with Junior with his, you know, his film and TV background. And for me, purpose drives everything that I do. And my advice to young people is that you need to know yourself. You know, you really need to like keep, you know, sometimes the world throws so many, I mean, we live in a time of social media hype, you know, people trying to be something that they're not, you know, you need to block all of that noise out and just take a moment or moments and just pause and say, look, who am I actually? What am I about? What do I like? What do I want to do in this life? What is it that makes meaning for me? And then you need to be authentic to yourself, because if you're real to yourself, like that's just a fantastic place to be in, as opposed to be trying to be someone that you're not, or trying to please. And I guess parents are guilty of this. We try to mold our children into like, and I think, I'm a Black man and an African man, and I have that molding because that's how I was raised. And I'm trying to think about my own son, how much of that am I actually kind of replicating to the next generation? So it's a two-way conversation here. We need to advise our young people, but also need to advise the elderly generations, and that can be a hard thing if you're, a Black, African, or Caribbean person there. But being purpose-driven means that you are being authentic to yourself. And if you find creativity as a part of that, where, you have a creative instinct, pursue it and be real with it. And who knows what you can end up making millions, but that's not what's the most important. What's important is you are true to your purpose, that you think you were born to do this thing. I mean, you're just following your dreams, and that's just meaning there.
Is it okay if I just came in quickly as well? Just
Sure, go on.
Thank you. Just on top of what Yahya said there, I'm coming in from a perspective where I'm not in the film industry. So in terms of just self-care, I think creativity is really, really important. It kind of helps you remain grounded, especially in terms of what Yahya was saying about understanding who you are as a person and being authentic in how you kind of navigate yourself in the world. I think if you take on creativity as a form of self-care, even before like you're ready to go deeper into the professional aspect of it as well, like just taking on that as a daily experience where you're trying to talk about your experiences, navigate your experiences. I think that's such a beautiful thing. So that's something I would advise, just taking on creativity as a form of self-care and really prioritizing that, and then trying to see where that will take you. So just believe in yourself, have faith that if you really want to go further in something and take it to a professional extent, then you have the power to do that. But if you want to use it as self-care to navigate how you experience the world as well, then that's such a powerful thing in itself. So that's something I think would be really important to keep a note of as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. We talked about creativity. We talked about if someone wants to do this in their life, but also I want to know an advice that you would give to anyone that is dealing with discrimination. I'm sure you went through it. I'm sure it wasn't easy. So how did you deal with it? How did you go past that experience? And also, we talked about being different from what the expectations from family are. But what is being different from what everyone else in the world is expecting from you?
I think for me, what I would say is there's, I think, over 7 billion people, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, on the planet Earth. If you're being discriminated by a group of people a certain way, just find new friends, people who have your best interests at heart, people who will work with you creatively. So surround yourself with the right people. If A is not working, you go to B, and sometimes B will work with you real well. So there's so many beautiful people, creative people who are willing to support and help you. So surround yourself with those people and try and focus on the good stuff. There's one advice someone gave me, I forgot who it was, but it's always stuck in my mind. Like if you're driving to Edinburgh and it's a bit deep in the night, right? And you get to that bit when it's really dark, and then you've got your full beam lights on, and it's just like 2 a.m. It's just you on the motorway, you're hitting 70. Junior knows because he's always driving. Your beam lights do not show you how farther or where you're going, like in Edinburgh, but they show you just enough distance for you to know that you're on that track and you're on the right track if you keep going and keep going. So with life and these sort of obstacles that come, I always like to look at life that way, choose the right path. And it may not be clear 100 300 years forward, but the more you keep doing the right stuff, keep surround yourself with the right people, eventually the universe always responds and you get to where you're going, to the destination. Because I believe everybody's got a purpose within us. You just find the right people and just go for it, and just try and block away, the loud noise that is not sort of fading to your sort of energy of what you're trying to achieve. That's how I've always lived, and this has just always helped me. Anyway, I don't know if I've answered your question, but hopefully I've touched on that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I just want to say goodbye and thank you so much for joining to Yahya.
Take care, Yahya. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Anything to add about the topic?
Again, just echoing what Etienne's saying. As human beings, we tend to adjust to the environment that we're surrounded with, right? So that environment is important. If you know who you are, you know who you are not. What do I mean by that? If it's time for something, you don't fall for anything. So going back to what Yahya said previously, self-knowledge, self-care, as Samantha mentioned as well, whether that's creatively, whether that's just, finding peace within yourself, you need to know who you are, and having that mindset of, okay, they're saying this about me, I've got this against me, there's discrimination in this place, but I'm going to have tunnel vision and I will get through this, through the support, whether it's family, friends, but having that focus, if it means turn off social media, that's what you do. You turn off the social media, you turn off the comments. The more you are what you repeatedly do, so the more you expose yourself to something, the more you're going to see it, the more it's going to grow within yourself. So turn away from it, don't listen to the noise, be focused, have that tunnel vision, as Etienne was saying, take one step at a time, and you will progressively get better. And it's, especially in this industry, it's something that you just have to understand. There is a reality that not everyone's going to be happy for you, even if you're successful. Not everyone's going to be by your side. Nobody's going to root for you until you probably already made it. But it's about the process, not the end goal for me. So I tend to try to enjoy the process and the steps of getting there, because in the process, I'm building character, I'm building resilience through these experiences, whether it's the hardships, whether it's the discrimination, it doesn't matter, because it's helping me shape who I am with the goals that I've got. So, know who you are, be self-aware if you can. And if you don't know who you are yet, pursue that, explore. If you're a young person, find out what it is that you're interested in. Maybe it's a particular hobby, an interest that might grow into something. So explore, try things out, fail. The best time to do it is when you're young, because there's no consequences necessarily. But try things out and see where you end up. And I always say this, I've always said this, if you shoot for the moon, you probably land somewhere amongst the stars. So if you might as well take the shot.
That's really good. That was really inspiring. Thank you.
Thanks.
Samantha?
Thank you. I'm not sure if I have any more to add on top of that. I think that was really good way to kind of round it off, and I feel really inspired by what you said. What I was going to ask about was how do you compare kind of like your personal experiences growing up in Scotland to now navigating the filming industry? Because I feel like your experiences with that will really be similar. So what do you think you've learned from growing up, and then how do you now use it? And could you advise people on how to kind of take that forward in their daily life as well?
Yeah, it's something that you always anything that you've done in the past doesn't go to waste, because you use it in your future. It's either a learning experience or in a sense a lesson, or you use it in your future endeavors. So for me, growing up, I was the only black kid in school. I grew up in Scotland, hence the accent. I guess a lot for that sometimes. But went to primary school here, grew up here, only Black kids for many years. Maybe there was one or two as the years went by. So I've been used to that environment. And it's something navigating into the creative and film industry. It's nothing new, especially in Scotland. You know, you go down to London, maybe they're a bit more diverse in terms of the scope of the artists, the culture that embraces the globe there. But in Scotland specifically, and it's been difficult to find a lot of people of different ethnic minorities within the creative industry specifically. Etienne struggled to even get to me. I think it was through a mutual friend. Shout out to Tunde, thanks for that. And so it's one of those things where I've carried that experience and known what that was like into this particular space in the future now, whereas it's nothing new. I've been here before, so I'm used to it. So I know how to then navigate around it because I've had to do it as a young kid growing up. So I take that experience, apply it to myself now, and I'm able to use that to, you know, whether it's jobs and just understanding. It might be stacked against me. Those might be stacked, but I'm still you know, I've been here before. This is familiar territory, so you apply that same logic and approach.
I think for me, it's always been, I mean, I'm not going to touch on what Junior just said because he said really important points that relate to me as well. I think that one thing that's always pushed me was my life experiences before I moved to the UK and how tough life was for me. So me moving from that space to be in this space where I can find opportunity, I always turn a no to a yes. Always, every time someone says no to me or there's no way to go something around, I look at it as a positive thing. So I'm always thinking about, okay, that's the problem, but how do we go around it and get to where we are going? So yeah, I've always used my life experiences, and I feel like being grounded and knowing who you are as a person is the most powerful thing, because every morning you wake up and be like, we are at it again, let's go. You know, previously it was tough. I experienced all that tough, but this is just part of the process, like Junior said, and they're trying to enjoy every bit of it. I mean, we are up north in Scotland. I remember when I went to Atlanta before the pandemic, and then I made these film producers do like, you're in Scotland? What's going on in Scotland? I'm like, yo, we're there, we're doing it. Trust me, you're going to hear about us very soon. And now I'm going to find a way to get the film in America, and they want to see the film, you know, and you know how Americans love like Outlander, all the stuff made in Scotland. They're big supporters of it. So it's like, yeah, I'm always using my life to sort of use that to keep pushing me, because obviously I go in Scotland when I was a little older. My accent is a little bit mixed. It's not like Junior. I try to do the Scottish accent, but I'm not really good at it at someone. So I was really older when I go here, and my life, I think being separated from my family for over 10 years and meeting with them here in Scotland, it was like I was in a school in a way to sort of learn how to deal with the no's and the life ups and downs, and understanding how to keep myself at the sun level where I always listen to my voice within and keep going and look at the big picture. You know, I mean, you've seen films coming to shoot in Scotland. I think the future is bright. Very soon you're going to be hearing about us shooting bits of all live action and doing more films and collaborating and, you know, giving a lot of opportunities to people who might have thought that this is not going to be possible. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about what's going to happen, and, you know, even speaking with yourselves as well. These are the opportunities we are always looking out for, and creating good relationships with people. You know, I've met Ian about 10 years ago, and we've been in touch. You know, he goes away and does his thing, but we always reconnect and talk about stuff and share and work together. So relationships for me are very important as well. You know, just make sure that always treat people right, because you never know where you're going to meet them along the way. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we're going to wrap up, but thank you, Samantha. I'm sure that we will have more opportunities to talk about the wonderful work that you do. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Junior. I am looking forward to seeing you on the big screen. And thank you, Etienne, as well. It was so good. It was a great conversation. I learned a lot. I think we will finish with your announcement of the film and where to find it and when to find it, and so what we have to do.
Yeah, that's the exciting
part. Etienne.
So it's going to be showing from the 21st of July, CC in Glasgow for 2 weeks, and then it's going to show in Edinburgh from the 9th of September. That's in Summer Hall. And it's going to be also showing this autumn in Sweden. It's going to be also showing other cinemas like in Portland, Maine, Toronto, LA, and New York for now. I'm not going to announce which venues yet because obviously I'm doing that through an independent distributor. So yeah, I'll keep announcing as I go, but it's exciting. But for Scotland, because the film is made in Scotland by Scottish people, Scottish actors, we shot bits of it in Glasgow and the Scottish Highlands. So we'll start local, with Glasgow, Edinburgh, and go to other cities and then go global. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So I'll repeat that, 21st of July, the opening night, and you're going to have a full experience of a 5.1 mixed sound. You're going to feel all the vibes of the Highlands and Glasgow. Look at me marketing the movie. And yeah, and the 9th of September with Edinburgh. So yeah, I'm very excited to meet everybody. And you guys, hopefully you can meet the cast and crew as well and screenings.
Thank you so much, everyone. The episode and now. Thank you.